Leviathan by Kurori Shiro. Alright, the main premise is but anime and some Lord of the Flies type stuff. We in space, set in an extremely futuristic humanity, where giant, habitable spaceships, robots, and futuristic suits are the norm. A group bursts into an old ferry ship. Spaceship? Space ferry ship that's clearly abandoned and destroyed. And look at that art, man. Some of that nutty cross-hatching and the spacesuits. Just look at that. Anyway, naturally the group starts looking around for some neat stuff, but the first thing they find is a notebook. Or more of a logbook with the ship's ID. Turns out, it's a missing passenger ship called the Leviathan. That's the name of the title! Wow! And it still has a reward for anyone who finds the ship. The ship was lost because its communications were suddenly cut. Why is that? What happened? And are there any survivors? Well, let's start off the first chapter. The group in the beginning act as narrators, no spoilers here, who find an old ship and look around for some loot. They find a logbook and boom, let's get started. A story within a story. The ship was carrying some kids on their end-of-cycle journey, a sightseeing of Earth, and our main boy, Ichinose here, is the archetypal bookworm, but it does seem like he at least has some social skills and is a bit friendly. Like any overnight trip, all the kids don't want to sleep. Kids playing, having fun, and of course, getting bullied. The victim has those about to snap eyes, and our boy timidly asks them to stop, but is quickly shot down. Thankfully, a rather creepy-looking adult intervenes and gives them some questionable advice. In this world, it's eat or be eaten. Definitely not foreshadowing. Next, Ichinose can be found doing his best deep in thought impression next to some girl named Nikaido, another loner, but she's clearly less friendly. They get called for lights out and boom! Meteor strike. The whole ship shakes and the kids are sent flying. Nidako is hurt. Something clearly exploded and everyone makes their way to the central square. It seems like there are only 2 teachers and the rest are students. One of the teacher asks their robo-helper for more information. However, it's still investigating and there's no answer. He decides to try to find the captain, but unfortunately, the bulkheads are down. Back to the center square, some of the kids are being treated for injuries, and Ichinose and Nikaido get sent to the infirmary to gather some supplies, since Nikaido is the nursing manager. Kinda weird for a student, but whatever. While walking, they discuss what happened, questioning was it a meteor collision or an attack. It was a meteor. They also feel lighter, being able to jump much higher and move heavy debris. They realize that the gravity control is damaged, meaning what happened has to have been serious. And to confirm, they look out the window and see corpses floating around. The situation is much worse than expected. Back to the teacher, all the bulkheads are now closed. The robo-helper can't contact the engine room or bridge area. In fact, there's no response from any other areas beside the residential area they are currently in. We zoom out to see the true extent of the damage. The ship is damaged way beyond repair and they need to call for a rescue team, police, army, or anything right now. Right then, we see our 2 characters appear right around the corner. A long-range SOS signal can be sent with the proper communication equipment. However, that equipment isn't on the residential areas. The robo-helper has been sending out short-ranged SOS signals, but there's no answers within its reach. And even if an SOS is delivered, they're in the middle of nowhere. Who knows how long it'll take before help can arrive. To make matters worse, there isn't enough oxygen to survive. Normally, there would be a year's worth of oxygen, but the recent explosion destroyed the main tank, and now they're running on reserves, which by current calculations would only last 50 hours. No living creature can survive without oxygen, and they don't know when or if help is even coming. But there is one way to survive. The kids, of course, hear all this and they follow the teacher and the bot. They reach some sort of freezer room. The robot says this ship is an old model. When it was built, they traveled to distant planets using advanced technologies no longer in use today. And since it was a sturdy ship, it wasn't scrapped. It was turned into a regular passenger ship. And fortunately, it still has a hibernation device used during those long trips. Unfortunately, there's only 1 pod left, since they weren't being used anymore and would constantly need repairs. Only 1 can survive. He tells the robo-helper to not tell anyone, as that would create unnecessary commotion. It's a last resort, and right now, they should prioritize everyone. What a good guy. The dumbass kids listening in drop a medicine bottle, alerting the teacher. A small chase scene begins, and the kids get away. The teacher wonders if they heard what happened and who they are. He goes back to the freezer and finds the medicine bottle they dropped. Cut back to Ichinose and Nikaido, slightly out of breath. Nikaido, being smart, says they shouldn't tell anyone what they heard, to keep it a secret. Kinda creepy, but okay, understandable. Cut some time, back to the center square, and the creepy-ass teacher is giving an announcement, confirming that a meteor struck the ship, but lies about sending an SOS signal and help being on the way, trying to get the students to remain calm and go back to their rooms. He then asks the other teacher who brought the medkit. Thinking nothing of it, she of course answers. It was the nursing manager. Oh no. One of the students then tells Nikaido there is an injured boy in the kitchen that needs some help. Naturally, she goes but finds an empty room. The teacher surprises her from behind, and he told everyone to go back to their rooms. She was told someone needed medicine. She notices the medicine bottle they dropped and freezes. She tries to run out, but the door is kicked shut. Why are you running? It's only a bottle. If you remember that bottle, then she was the one listening. Scared, Nikaido runs to the other side of the room while the teacher tells her to relax. He just wants to talk. Naturally, she asks how she can trust him when he lied to everyone. The teacher then uses some pretty convincing logic. Some things are better left untold. It's the teacher's responsibility to find a way to save them, and the kids would panic if they knew. No help is coming, and there's no way to save everyone in 50 hours. Isn't everyone better off not knowing? Nikaido claps back with what we're all thinking. Will he be the one to use the hibernation pod? Yup. He pulls out a knife, apologizing. She should not have heard what was going on. A fight ensues and she spits some shit. You call yourself a teacher? She grabs a pot and whips it at him, and yeets a pan straight into his chest, causing him to drop the knife. She picks it up and jams it in his back. Unfortunately, his suit took most of the damage and he pins her down, trying to choke her out. With some quick thinking, she kicks him off with some superhuman strength. Remember, the gravity control is busted, and he flies into a wall, back first, stabbing him all the way. Tomato juice everywhere. Back to the kids who heard a lot of noise coming from the kitchen. They go and investigate and find the aftermath of the fight. They're clearly shocked, and Ichinose leaves to puke, where he finds Nikaido, standing creepily in the hallway. He asks her if she killed the teacher, and asks why. The less people who know the truth, the better. He thought about it, and so did I. I told you, this will be our secret. Ichinose finally grasps the severity of the situation, and what will probably happen on the ship. Back to our narrators, they now know there's only one survivor, wondering how they decided who got the pod. But from the looks of things, it probably wasn't peacefully. So, they decide to look for the hibernation device while reading the logbook. They want to know who survived. And the game begins. So similar to Lord of the Flies, a whole bunch of kids trapped together with an imposter who killed the teacher and another who knows the truth. How will it end? Who survived? Go read it. It's a really short read, only 15 chapters, but each is a bit long. But you know, if you have some time to kill, go find it and go read it.